It's really nice coming home to a slender wife again.
Thank you, Weight Loss Clinic.
I have hundreds of women that work for me, and I think that what's happened, this false hope is, really turned into something very different, because what I see is women that are, from their early 30s to their late 40s that are miserable. Because they really were fed a lie, and it goes so much further than we think. And I think as women we have to partially take responsibility for that, because I think I was one of these women in a leadership position that was like, wait it out, it'll be fine. Guess what? It's not fine. Like, it really isn't. And it's fine if you are one of those people that doesn't want to have a baby, but for a lot of women that isn't the case, and they've waited and they've waited and they've put their career first, and then when they've chosen to have babies, it's no longer their choice, and their frozen eggs didn't turn into embryos, and the embryos that they had didn't figure out into babies. And so I do think that we're in a position right now where as leaders we have a responsibility to not just talk the talk but walk the walk. You have to be honest about what it takes to be a leader and what those trade-offs are, instead of creating this narrative of false hope, because what I'm seeing is just so many women that are miserable.
A look at the all-time oldest NBA All-Stars reveals a stunning list of NBA talent. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar at 41, again at 40 with Dirk Nowitzki, LeBron James at 39 with Michael Jordan at 39, Kareem again at 38, LeBron, of course, again at 38, Tim Duncan, Michael Jordan. If you wanted to be an NBA player as a 20-year-old, you would give your best to try and be an NBA player at 20, of course. But if you said, I want to take my 20s and have fun, and I'm going to decide somewhere in my 30s that I'm going to try and be an NBA player, that would be much, much more difficult. And then if you said you wanted to be an NBA All-Star, even if you were in the NBA as a 20-year-old, that's even more difficult.
American women are giving up on marriage, in part thanks to huge and growing gender gaps in education, politics, finances, and family values. Historically, finding a romantic partner has been a typical milestone of adulthood, but now that's changing.
A recent CDC report highlights a significant fertility shift in the United States, marking historic change in family dynamics. For the first time, more babies are being born to women over 40 than to teenagers. Teen births have plummeted by 73% since 1990, while births to women over 40 have surged by 193%. In 2023, women over 40 accounted for 4.1% of all births, narrowly surpassing teen births at 4.0%.
More than half of women aged 18 to 40 were not married nor living with a partner in 2023. That's a difference of nearly 10 percentage points from 2000. Data shows that more women than men are attending college, buying houses, and focusing on their friendships and careers over dating and marriage.
Overall, U.S. births have declined by 14% since 1990, with notable drops in younger age groups. Births to women aged 20 to 24 have fallen 44%, 25 to 29 dropped 23%, births to women 30 and older have increased with a 24% rise for those aged 30 to 34 and a 90% spike for women aged 35 to 39.
Plus, there's the growing political divide between men and women, leading to ideological deal breakers. A 2022 Pew survey of single adults showed that only 34% of women were even looking for romance, compared to 54% of men. Marriage rates overall are declining because there's less pressure to pair off and there are higher expectations for a good match. But men seem more satisfied with their options than women.
This post reads, periods, pregnancy, menopause, while men just live their lives? I don't get it. But the truth is, men have always been the ones to head first into battle, to dirty their hands and rugged their hands by building things in order to have a woman to provision for. And if a young lady is beautiful at 17, 18 years old, if she plays her cards right, she can live a very soft life. That's just the way humanity works. A man is going to work hard to acquire things so that he can find a beautiful young woman to have a life with. But now that young ladies are taking on some of the roles of provisioning themselves, they have to have a mature conversation about the kind of mate they pick, and more importantly, when they choose a mate. One that's not being had in this conversation with women about when they're getting married and deciding to have children.
A 2023 survey of college-educated women found that half blamed their being single on their inability to find someone who meets their expectations. And women's rise in earning power allows them to be choosier. The challenges of finding a romantic partner have left American women more resigned than ever to stay single.
I've done so much. I've taken care of some men.
Really?
Okay, yeah. Hell yeah. I've taken care of some men.
But a man will let a woman take care of him?
You're damn right these days. And then go on a podcast talking about y'all are all angry. That's because we taking care of your ass. Should we picking up where your mom left off?
When you hear Just Hilarious lament about taking care of men, more likely what the case is that there are guys that she deemed as attractive, and those are the guys she's willing to take care of. There are plenty of guys that in this day and age are willing to be the softer, more effeminate, more of a helpmeet to a woman, a partner, if you will. But do women want this kind of guy?
I'm not a woman, but if I were, I feel like I would want a manly man. You know what I mean? And I feel like there are less manly men out there. We are a very sad species, us men.
Yeah.
We are very sad. We are very, very immature. I think there's a lot of immature guys out there. Heck, I'm one of them. I'm a very immature guy at sometimes.
So you're saying the single women are happier because they'd rather be single than be with these less than men?
Women are way more self-sufficient than a man is self-sufficient.
Really?
I think so.
Attention all men. Do not introduce us to a vibe that you cannot maintain. Do not pretend to be a better version of yourself than you actually are to trick women into falling in love with you. If you suck, show us you suck. Thank you.
As men, we understand that this kind of self-deprecating masculinity is in no way attractive to young women. What he's attempting to do is be safe, and these women are letting their frustrations be known to him. And he's essentially saying that men are sad, men need to do better, which is the order of the day. What he is not talking about is these two women on this panel had their fun in their 20s with certain guys. He is not holding them to a standard of saying, did you make those guys commit before you had fun with them? Because in order to have a mature conversation about this, women have to take some responsibility about the guys they are rewarding with their bodies, which this guy clearly is not going to do.
Women are way more self-sufficient than a man is self-sufficient.
Really?
I think so. Women got their stuff together.
Yes.
Guys, we are very sad out here. Maybe the woman doesn't want to be a mom. Maybe she wants to be a wife.
Yes.
You know?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes. I think you're spot on.
Kind of.
You don't want to take on another child.
Right.
You want to be a mother to children, not a mother to the man.
Yes, the pool of real manly men out there is very limited these days, I feel like.
How do you define a manly man, though?
I mean, you know and you know.
All right.
Notice here when he is confronted straight up with the question, what is a good man? He is not comfortable enough in his masculinity to say a good man is A, B, C, D, and E. Either you like him or he's going to buy a plane ticket and get a passport and go overseas and find a woman that does. Instead, he backs away and let the women answer the question. And you know what the answer is.
Are you saying self-sufficient, emotionally intelligent?
All of it.
Has a good job.
Yes.
Pays the bills.
All of it.
Yeah.
Not totally reckless.
Can change a tire.
Can change a tire.
A look at the traditional Snow White versus the modern Snow White shows a very clear difference in the two women. The 37 Snow White was doing her chores with a good attitude, and the 2025 Snow White sees the chores as beneath her, and she has a poor attitude while doing the chores. For guys looking to be passport bros, expats, or even date out, or even date inside your race, however you're choosing to find your partner, wherever you may find her, there's one attribute that's more important than anything else, and it's simply a positive attitude. If you look at the difference between the two of the Snow Whites, you can see a good attitude doing something she doesn't want to do versus a terrible attitude doing something she doesn't want to do. In a marriage, in modern relationships, someone's going to have to clean. The woman's going to have to get pregnant sooner or later, and it's going to be very uncomfortable. The money might suffer, but one thing will not change if you have it in your relationship. A positive attitude is going to help you get through it. If you're going into the relationship thinking that I'm oppressed, that something is wrong with the man, that he owes me something, then it's going to end like most American marriages are ending these days. They're going to end with a divorce and a woman essentially saying that men need to grow up, men need to do better, and I'm perfect because I didn't get what I want and this world needs to change for what I want. And what's going to happen if you go overseas is there are more young ladies who haven't gotten there yet. Hopefully they don't. But if they have a positive attitude, they're going to understand clothes need to be washed, food needs to be cooked, my husband needs what he needs, and I'm going to give him that because he knows that there are things that I need. And for the young ladies that are raising their standards, I only warn them, you can raise your standards all you want to. But one day, your difficulty in having a child is going to be a very real problem for you. And the idea that you're going to be Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and be an all-star at 41 years old is going to work, but only for a small group of women. Maturity and a positive mental attitude is what's going to separate feminists from being women that are feminine. The kind of women that men are looking for in the first place. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, comment below. I'll catch you next video. Take care, guys.